Story 1. It is a small thing. A closet rod was installed above my washer and dryer along with extra hangers. Now clothes are taken out of the dryer and placed on hangers immediately instead of ending up as a pile on the floor or in a basket never properly put away. Story 2. An inexpensive microwave and coffee maker for my work van. I have an inverter to power my tools. Hot coffee and hot lunches make a huge difference, especially on bad days. Story 3. My apartment has zero counter space. In reality, there is only a total of 5 feet spread across 3 areas next to the sink and stove. I spent $15 on a 4-foot table that now holds all my kitchen appliances. A toaster, a water distiller, a crock pot, and an Instant Pot. It has just enough room for everything. Thanks for the awards. Because this is a common question, the distiller is for purifying water. It boils water, collects the steam, and condenses it back into water in a pot on the side. It is the same process used to make stronger alcohol, but the higher temperature leaves behind solids that I clean out once a week. I prefer pure water and get my minerals from food. I enjoy cooking, so I choose dishes that provide the minerals I need. Story 4. 11-pound capacity digital kitchen scale for baking, cooking, and accurately identifying portion sizes. Story 5. A rubber-bristled broom works best for me. I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and my house has hardwood and tile floors. A regular broom just sends the fur floating everywhere. But my rubber broom keeps the fur contained and easy to pick up. It also works on my area rug and on upholstered furniture. Story 6. Shower chair. I have a bad back and I initially got it for that, but even if my back were fine, I would still have one. They are very useful. If you shave your legs, you will not regret it. Story 7. A hot water bottle. I live in cold Scandinavia and have chronic pain. I use it pretty much year-round. Story 8. My $9 pill organizer. Friends have laughed at me because it seems like an older person's thing, but I finally managed to stick to my medication. Yes, ironically, my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is so bad that I couldn't even get that done. To me, this was a real life changer. Bonus points. I am the only one who knows which day it is during the pandemic. Story 9. A battery pack for charging your phone. We have all been in situations where keeping your phone powered is very important, and not being tied to an outlet is even better. Story 10. A foldable laptop stand for €15. I always thought I did not need this, but it does wonders for my neck. Travels everywhere with me now. Also, a 2-meter phone cable. It is excellent. Note, it was cheaper on Amazon Prime in November, but about €20 is still worth it. I like the dark gray metallic color because it matches my laptop, and the aluminum feels sturdier than plastic. I chose a very slim model that is basically just a framework for the laptop with no platform, so it takes up minimal space in my backpack. I bought the cable a few years ago, and the exact item is no longer available, but it was an Amazon Basics iPhone cable. Current Amazon Basics Lightning to Universal Serial Bus cables, including braided versions, should work fine. Story 11. Solar Power Battery Pack. The power went out during the hurricane, and I stayed up and running for 5 days. The pack is 25,000 mAh, lucky, compatible with smartphones and waterproof. Story 12. I have a rice cooker and an electric kettle. I used to eat rice and drink tea occasionally. Now I do so all the time. Story 13. Fluffy duvet covers. My bed was always cold, but now it is not. £12 for a single, £15 for a double. Story 14. This might sound silly, but a set of 3 different sized stainless steel whisks is invaluable. You would not believe how much easier making sauces and eggs is with them. Also, a whiteboard to keep on the fridge makes it easier to note what you are low on or out of. A weighted blanket reduced my nighttime anxiety attacks by a lot. The blanket is the Tranquility Cool to the Touch 20-pound model, and the whisks are Mainstays brand. Story 15. Earplugs saved my final exams in high school when my sister and her 1.5-year-old and 3-year-old children tore through the whole house. Story 16. Thanks, Reddit, for the impromptu $153 worth of life hack items I just bought from Amazon at 4:38 in the morning. Story 17. A wake-up light alarm clock. The light turns on gradually and wakes you up instead of an obnoxious beeping alarm. It makes the start of my day more positive. Story 18. Weighted blanket or a good pillow. Your sleep quality will improve. Being well rested has to be one of the few good things to happen to me in 2020. Story 19. Affinity Photo was on sale for $25, so I could leave Photoshop and the whole Adobe Creative Suite subscription nonsense behind me. No more monthly payments. A one-time payment of $25 and it was mine. I also bought a used line tool for architects for €3, normally €25. Making comic panels has never been easier. Story 20. The helping hand is basically a litter picker, which was actually invented for people with disabilities. I am disabled and use a wheelchair. My occupational therapist gave me this years ago to help me reach items in high kitchen cupboards. I still have it and it has been a life changer. Story 21. Headband headphones. They are a thin elastic fabric band with Bluetooth headphones inside. They cost about £20 from a large online retailer. Earplugs were not enough to stop footsteps and furniture noise through a paper-thin ceiling at night, but adding the headband headphones and sleep music from YouTube drastically improved my sleep. Story 22. A butter dish keeps room temperature butter always available. No more struggling to spread hard butter from the refrigerator. Story 23. A heated blanket. I do not know how I ever survived winters before this. Story 24. Use a coffee grinder. Grinding whole beans yourself yields far better coffee than using pre-ground beans. Story 25. Rain-X. If there is one product I would sell door to door, this is it. Please do not let it come to that. Story 26. A non-stick electric griddle lets you cook many different foods. A coffee maker and an inexpensive Yeti-style tumbler can save you a substantial amount of money. Story 27. Pocket Swiss Army knife or multi-tool. I have two that I keep on me at all times and use them almost daily. Story 28. This is a mechanical pencil I bought in high school or earlier. I will graduate from college soon, which means I have been writing with the same pencil for about 10 years. It fits perfectly between my fingers. I have kept a traditional diary since I was a child, and it has become more important as so little today requires paper and pencil. So many memories, from the happiest moments to the worst, have been written with this pencil. I have a few other pencils as well, but they do not feel right. Eventually, I put them away and returned to my old friend. Story 29. About 20 years ago, I bought a set of 3 video home system tapes that showed Sepp Halser working with ponds, gardens, and animals in ways far better than I had imagined. They have been the core of my life ever since. Story 30. Sheet suspenders. I toss and turn a lot and have to adjust the fitted sheet every morning. Story 31. A $1 corkscrew that I keep in my car. You would not believe the number of times this has made me the hero. Story 32. In my university house of 4 long-haired girls, we used a sieve that fit over the plug hole. It let water through but caught the hair so the drain did not clog. Cost a lot less than a plumber or losing our deposit. Edit. Thank you for the drain snake recommendations. However, I can guarantee that owning one would result in my roommate chasing me around the house while holding a foot-long plastic tentacle with 2 months' worth of hair, period blood, and a bath bomb stuck to the end of it, and I would not want to experience that. Story 33. Shoe inserts $2 has never made such a huge impact on my personal daily comfort. Bed Geek Personal Massager. I have had it over a year and it is still working fantastically. Panera Bread Caesar salad dressing. My significant other enjoys eating salads now. Lettuce spinner say goodbye to soggy salads. Houseplants, having other living things inside brings joy to my life. Rope hamper basket, we use a large one for our so-called compost clothes. Meaning clothes that have been worn but are not dirty enough to wash and not clean enough to fold and put away. This prevents clothes from building up on the bedroom floor. Porch hammock to relax and enjoy being outside. Story 34. I have an electric kettle with temperature control. I drink a lot of tea, and different kinds of tea require different water temperatures. It boils water in 3 to 5 minutes depending on how much I put in, so it is much better than the stovetop kettle my roommate uses and far better than using a microwave. Story 35. A bidet. No more itchy, burning, or stinky buttocks. 80% reduction in toilet paper use. Why did it take me so long to get one? Story 36. A $4 nasal spray. I used to be a mouth breather. Now my nostrils are fully functional, and I no longer dream about suffocating. I know I should not use it regularly, as it can be harmful and may cause a type of addiction. I have spoken to my doctor and use it as recommended by my general practitioner. Thank you for the concern and for other suggestions to open my airways. Story 37. 2 items. A weighted blanket varies in price depending on type, size, and material. It can drastically improve sleep and can help people with insomnia, depression, anxiety, and night terrors. A satin sleep mask can block unwanted light and help you sleep better. Story 38. I am a teacher. Portable scanner saves me time. No need to find a photocopier, spend time photocopying, carry paper around, or archive it. Scans go straight to a memory card for quick transfer to the computer. So much time saved. Edit. Many thanks for the suggestions of alternatives. I also use Cam Scanner, but I prefer my portable scanner because it is not vulnerable to hand wobble, orientation mishaps, or poor lighting. It produces consistently well-lit, properly oriented scans. It also switches between Joint Photographic Experts Group and portable document format and between high and low quality at the press of a button. Story 39. A decent pen. I do not understand how people go through life with poor quality pens. Story 40. Use a whiteboard. Get your life in order. A semi-structured approach is best. Story 41. In 1989, I was out of a job. I went to the mall and bought a book on DBase coding for $30. I got a pirated copy of DBase from a friend. Within a few weeks, I was writing payroll programs. I have been making good money in information technology since then. Story 42. I bought a $5 pre-owned leather belt at Value Village in 2009. I wear it every day. Story 43. My pet rabbit cost only $29.95, but she is priceless to me. For the last 7 years, she has given me a reason to get up in the morning and keep a schedule. She is my companion and has brought me a steady smile and quiet company. Story 44. Waterpik saved me thousands in dental bills. No more excessive amounts of chewing gum, root canals, or bleeding gums. Story 45. Screw this entire thread. I have bought an espresso machine and a kettle. Edit. Holy hell. I went to sleep right after posting and woke up to my phone sizzling with notifications. Thanks for the silver and other awards. Story 46. A meat thermometer eliminates guessing internal temperatures. Enjoy perfectly cooked food every time. Thank you for the upvotes and the award. As some have mentioned, you get what you pay for when it comes to a thermometer, so do not buy the cheapest one you can. Story 47. A box of extension cords about 30 centimeters long. When a large alternating current adapter covers adjacent wall sockets, these extension cords move the adapter away from the outlet so you can still use all the sockets. Story 48. Silk pillowcase. I often go to bed with wet hair, and when I wake up it is smooth and bouncy. I have less breakage and less shedding in the shower and on my brush. Birth control pills. I always know when I will get my period. It is shorter and lighter with fewer cramps. They are practically free and have vastly improved my life. Front clipping dog harness. For my dog, it eliminated pulling and is comfortable for the dog. It makes our walks relaxed and pleasant. Blackout curtains. Story 49. A small coffee pot I keep by my bedside. I prepare my coffee, mug, and milk in a cooler bag the night before. And when my alarm goes off, all I have to do is lean over and hit the switch. I snooze for 10 more minutes while the pot brews. I no longer have to drag myself out of bed into a freezing kitchen and fiddle for 10 minutes with the French press before I am back in bed with my cup. It is a small thing that has turned my mornings from a hassle into a source of joy. Story 50. So is this where BuzzFeed gets the material for all its clickbait articles? Story 51. I'm American and recently got an electric kettle. I used to just microwave water. It's a game changer not just for tea but for oatmeal, pasta, and bringing water to sous vide temperatures. I use it more than I expected. I don't drink much tea. Maybe 1 to 2 cups per week, mostly at the office when I worked there, although I drank more after buying the kettle. We were gifted Cryo Brew for Christmas, which led us to use a French press again. Cryo Brew is like coffee but made from cacao grounds and is excellent. That led to boiling water in a pot and then getting an electric kettle. The only time I microwaved water at home was for 1 cup of tea, approximately 10 times per year. Story 52. These are a pair of $25 blue light-canceling reading glasses. I have to spend almost the entire day on the computer for college, so it is nice to go to bed without a headache or feeling like my eyes are burning. Story 53. I think it cost $55. It is a cheap generic drawing tablet that I use to take all my university notes and complete assignments digitally. For the first time, all my notes are organized and I do not have a backpack full of loose papers. Story 54. A bike helmet matters. If you bike often enough in a city, crashes are inevitable. When I had my first hard crash, my helmet made the difference between being bruised and sore and having to pay hundreds of dollars for emergency dental work. Your face, teeth, and brain are worth the investment. To explain how a helmet saved my teeth, imagine hitting your face on the pavement. The helmet protrudes from your forehead. When you hit the ground face first, the helmet takes the brunt of the collision, not your nose and teeth. Without the helmet, it is just face to pavement, and you will not come out of that with a good smile. Story 55. A small slider that you put on a toothpaste tube to squeeze out the paste. Story 56. I use a cane sometimes because I have very bad joints and back pain that sometimes leave me unable to walk well. The doctor says I am fine, which is odd because a previous doctor diagnosed spondylosis. I found a hiking cane with shock absorption at Cabela's of all places. It is fantastic and the best cane I have ever had. It has a comfortable cork handle, fully adjustable height, a basket on the end, replaceable feet, and the tip can be removed to convert it into a regular metal-tipped hiking stick. Cost $25. I will never use another cane again. Story 57. Weighing scale. Primarily for coffee brewing and useful when experimenting with things in the kitchen. Alarm clock. Handles alarms better than my phone. Extended mouse pad. Provides much more freedom, especially when playing video games with low sensitivity. Cheap wireless gaming mouse. No wires, and the extra buttons are more useful than I expected. Story 58. Start a crock pot in the morning. The food will be ready by evening. Story 59. A clock that projects onto the ceiling. I thought it would be gimmicky, and now I cannot imagine life without it. Story 60. So I've got a few. They're all under $50 individually, and each one has changed my life. The first and most important has literally saved my life. Anytime you get a new or used car, or even if you already have one, buy the most expensive windshield wiper blades you can. They will be under $50 and may not seem important, but you'll be one of the cars driving through a downpour while everyone else has their hazard lights on hiding under overpasses. Another car item is a hydraulic jack. Your cheap standard jack is not what you want to be using on the side of the highway while changing a flat tire. Hydraulic jacks make a great new car gift for any car owner and will be appreciated when needed. Blackout curtains. Simple. I work nights, so I want darkness when the curtains are closed and the lights are off. I use Eclipse brand blackout curtains. They are pricey but worth it. A bidet. You can get an attachment for your toilet and it saves you a lot of money on toilet paper. Pregnant and torn? Bidet. After anal surgery? Bidet. Ate at Taco Bell? It has multiple pressure settings. Switch that to the high setting and put out the flames. Final suggestions for pet owners. Spend that $50 on a pet water fountain for your cat. Cats like running water and it is healthier for them. That will cost about $20 to $25. Next, get a larger litter box and a litter mat. Less cleanup and less smell. I have a Maine Coon. My cat probably poops more than yours, and I never smell it. Those are the things I spent a quick $50 on and never looked back. Hope this helps. Story 61. A set of really good drawing pencils. I took a chance and, after practicing with them, I now make a living as an artist. Story 62. A therapy light or light box can make a real difference during the dark, gray winters here in the Midwest. Sitting in front of one while online or having a cup of coffee can improve your mental health. It simulates sunlight and encourages vitamin D production. Definitely check one out. Story 63. Well, I have definitely spent more than $50 since opening this thread. Story 64. A $26 metal litter scooper. I have 3 cats, and that scooper turned a 15-minute litter job into 3 minutes. If you have multiple cats and many litter boxes, spring for a non-plastic scoop. For your information, you should have 1.5 to 2 litter boxes per cat. Story 65. A boot dryer is worth it. If you work long hours in steel-toe boots, I highly recommend it, especially if you have very sweaty feet. It will dry your boots overnight and make them slightly warm, like they just came out of the dryer, for only $20. Story 66. A bidet attachment for my toilet gives a fresh out-of-the-shower level of cleanliness every time. It paid for itself within 6 to 12 months by reducing toilet paper consumption in my household. Story 67. I bought a small hand truck from Sam's Club for $34 about 20 years ago. Story 68. Belt sander. I have found a love for woodworking. It has drastically improved my mood and life in general. Story 69. A hamper with 3 different bags for colors, whites, and delicates. You never have to sort again. Story 70. A tile. My phone finds my keys and my keys find my phone. I used to have panic attacks when I lost my phone, which happened every few days. No more. Story 71. In Brazil, 50 United States dollars is a lot of money. It equals 264.55 Brazilian reais. I need new kitchen knives, and this amount is sufficient to buy them. I'm practicing my English. Sorry for my mistakes. Story 72. I canceled cable in the United States and dislike recurring monthly subscriptions. I subscribed to Audible after the coronavirus pandemic began because I was home a lot and bored, and since then I have listened to many books. I am an attorney and have not read much since law school, because I read on the computer all day, and often have I strain after a long day of work. Listening has allowed me to enjoy books I otherwise would not have read. For example, with authors such as Leo Tolstoy, it is helpful to have a narrator pronounce Russian names and words correctly. When an author reads his or her own book, you get the tone and inflection they intended. I have listened to many of Anthony Bourdain's books read by him. You get his exact tone and intention, which you would not have when reading silently. Plus, when I am driving, exercising, or otherwise spending idle time, I broaden my knowledge, all for about $12 a month. I do not work for Audible or endorse them. There may be other equally good options. Most libraries in the United States let you borrow books on compact disc for free. This is just a convenient alternative. Story 73. I buy my prescription glasses online through Zenni, and they've always turned out great. I just bought 4 pairs with anti-glare coating and shipping for about $15 each. My mom is an optician, and when I first started getting them, she was upset that they were undercutting lens shops so much and was convinced the lenses would be incorrect. She checks and adjusts every pair I get, and I have yet to have an incorrect prescription. It is a la carte, so the most I have ever paid for a pair with all the bells and whistles was $65 for mirrored sunglasses. The last time I bought glasses from an optical shop, I think I paid $350, and those were name brand but had basic plastic lenses with anti-glare coating. Luxottica is an evil monopoly, and their price gouging is outrageous. Story 74. Spotify Premium. I have used it at least once a day for the past 4 years. It is worth every cent. Story 75. Epsom salt and a pumice stone cost less than $5 total. Soak your feet weekly for 30 minutes in warm water, then rub them with the pumice stone. Your feet will feel much better and softer. Story 76. I will do you one better. $4 for a latch for the kitchen gate. Previously, it was an annoying little eyelet hook that we were constantly fiddling with. Caused some dropped food, and eventually we stopped caring, so the dogs kept getting into the trash. For dollars later, I am amazed at the difference in quality of life. Story 77. I bought a pitcher for $1.25 from Daiso. Before that, my wife and I always argued about whether the Brita should be warm or cold. Now we pour filtered water into the pitcher, keep it in the fridge, and leave the Brita out. No more arguments. It is also great for serving beverages when we have company. Story 78. My favorite recent purchase under $50 that made my life better is an electric kettle. Every time I use it, I pat myself on the back for finally getting around to buying one. Story 79. A dashcam is like a plunger. If you wait to buy one until you need it, it's already too late. Having that extra insurance, proof to protect yourself if something happens, is invaluable. You also record surprising events while driving and can show them to your friends. Story 80. This might sound stupid, but a menstrual cup has been great. I am saving money and it is much more comfortable than pads or tampons. Story 81. Bluetooth headphones. Now I can listen to music while I am working without any cables getting in the way. Thank you, James B. Lansing. Story 82. A white noise machine is essential since I live with a bunch of people. It blocks out a lot of noise and lets me sleep soundly. Best purchase I have made for $30. Story 83. A gap cover for the space between the cooker and the counter. It prevents food from falling into the gap so you will not have to pull the cooker out to retrieve it. Story 84. Menstrual cup. I spent $30 on a menstrual cup, and it is a game changer. I never leak overnight. I can work a 12-hour shift without worrying about tampons, and for some unexplained reason my cramps are much less severe. Reusable Keurig pods. I drink coffee all day. I like my Keurig because I do not have to make a full pot, but single-use pods are expensive and wasteful. I can use any blend I want in reusable pods and dump the grounds into a paper bag. When the bag is full, I put it in the compost. Knee pillow. I have an autoimmune joint disease, and this pillow makes sleeping much more comfortable. I would not travel without it. It is worth every penny. Automatic pet feeder. We no longer wake at 6 in the morning on Saturdays because our 2 cats are hungry and yowling loudly. I set the feeder for 6 in the morning and 6 in the evening every day, and I give them a little wet food later in the evening. Everyone wins. Story 85. I have misophonia, and after complaining about needing an anti-hearing aid to dull my very sensitive hearing, my wife bought me the calmer in-ear device. Now we can eat in the same room without intense aggression and stress responses to chewing noises. It brought me to tears the first time I used it because I felt so peaceful, and so did she. It might not work for everyone, but it was incredible for me. Story 86. Not safe for work. The Hitachi Magic Wand I bought on sale for $45.99 was my first toy and has served me well for 8 years, producing more than 800 orgasms. Story 87. Cast iron pans. I threw out all my Teflon pans and discovered a whole new dimension of cooking. Story 88. Xbox One controller. I usually play single-player games, so the trade-off between better ergonomics and the extra precision of a mouse and keyboard is worth it. It makes my gaming sessions much better and more comfortable. Postscript. Before you personal computer purists jump on me, I concede that nothing comes close to the precision of a mouse and keyboard for the first-person shooter and real-time strategy genres, but I rarely play these genres in multiplayer. Against simple computer artificial intelligence, a controller will do. Story 89. Using a laptop touchpad is not convenient. A computer mouse is 69 times more practical. Story 90. A mask to hide my ugliness. I feel super confident nowadays. Story 91. My cat and my squatty potty were $25 each. They are to be enjoyed separately. Story 92. My robe. I can't believe people still go without one. Have roommates and don't want to put on pants? Stepping out of a cold shower? Just cold? A robe solves all of these. There are even towel robes so you can dry off without irritating your skin if soft robes feel counterproductive. Story 93. $10 silicone tip tongs for cooking. $5 box of Borax, multiple uses for cleaning and laundry. $3 bottle of Clorox gel toilet cleaner for grout. If you have dirty grout, use this. It will remove mold and mildew with little scrubbing. Be sure to turn on the fan. $28 cannabidiol oil for sleep. I have had severe insomnia my whole life. I do not use cannabis or prescription sleeping pills, and cannabidiol oil has changed my life. $20 menstrual cup. Game changer. Edit. Since I have been getting a lot of questions about cannabidiol oil, I use the brand Solii-free oil from Prairie Canna. I put 2 to 3 drops under my tongue about 30 minutes before bedtime. Story 94. A smart plug that costs $10 controls my electric blanket and preheats it 10 minutes before I go to bed. Story 95. A Lamy Safari fountain pen. I'd only ever written with cheap, skinny ballpoint pens and had poor handwriting because my hand shakes if I have to grip too tightly. The Safari is the perfect width and weight, and I can read what I write again. Story 96. I am in rural Minnesota in the backwoods. In an old house, mosquitoes find their way in through the old windows and bite us and the dog. Combined with the open plan of the house and the fact that we sleep in what is basically a loft, sleeping without being harassed by the mosquitoes is difficult. A $15 bug net that drapes over the whole bed like a tent from the peak of the ceiling was a huge game changer. In the same online order, we also bought a memory foam topper that cost about $25. Altogether, $40 has produced the best sleep I have had in years. Story 97. An extensive set of measuring cups and spoons drastically changed my baking results. Story 98. The ratcheting belt was the best purchase of 2020. I was not expecting it at all. Story 99. A daily and weekly planner can help. Having your necessary tasks for the week divided among the days and written down clearly is helpful and much less chaotic and stressful. Story 100. Pressure cooker. I was low on cash with about $80 to last me a few weeks until my first paycheck. I spent $45 on a pressure cooker, and I was able to quickly cook dried beans and rice in less than an hour each, whereas I would otherwise have had to spend several hours. Story 101. A $30 thermos. My workplace no longer allows communal or individual kettles, and I refuse to use the same Keurig as everyone else right now. Don't ask why the Keurig is allowed but the kettle is not. It makes no sense to me either. The thermos keeps water really hot from 7 in the morning until at least 1 in the afternoon, and I can have hot tea at work. Story 102. I am only 17, so it may not seem like much to most adults, but it has helped me a lot. The app tells me when my next class is about to start, which is great since I am taking classes online. I can keep track of teachers, classes, and assignments. I can enter due dates months in advance. When I attended school in person, it was impossible to remember assignments off the top of my head. But now I complete homework and study for tests without teachers reminding me as often. I have always kept an agenda throughout my school life, and instead of buying a new one each year, I reuse the same app with unlimited writing space. Story 103. My dog, a $12 rescue, is the most incredible soul on earth. She is not an object, but I regularly tell her she is the best $12 I have ever spent. Story 104. A light therapy lamp. I have not had this much energy and motivation in years. This article helps explain the mechanisms of light therapy. Story 105. Universal Serial Bus Type-C car charger. Can charge my phone from almost empty to over 80% during my morning commute. I never have to wait hours to reach a full charge, and it can also provide a quick 20% boost in a matter of minutes. Story 106. Does it count if I got it on a Black Friday sale for just under $50? A sous vide cooker makes it much easier to cook meat without overcooking or undercooking, and it produced some of the best steaks I have ever made. Story 107. My garlic press. I don't have to peel garlic. I just put a clove in it and press. Boom, garlic. Story 108. Snail mucus, $38. I have rosacea and oily skin, and I get painful pimples under the surface. A year ago, I started using snail mucus as a moisturizer after the owner of a local skincare shop recommended it. I was skeptical. It is not a miracle cure, but I have noticed a significant difference. It soothes rosacea, is oil-free, and I apply it at night and in the morning before sunscreen. It also makes my makeup look smooth and natural, and my skin tone is more glowing. 10 out of 10, I recommend it. Story 109. A female urinal sounds gross, but it has been a game changer when I go camping. It gives women the freedom that men have to go when and where they need to. On a recent road trip, I was able to use it even while the bathrooms at the rest stop were closed due to coronavirus disease 2019. I tell everyone about it. Story 110, motion sensing light switch for the laundry room. Hands full? No problem. Story 111, a tiny space heater for my bathroom makes getting ready for work on cold winter mornings bearable. Story 112, a weighted blanket helps me sleep. A sound machine helps me stay asleep because I am tired of listening to my neighbors having sex at 6 a.m. A food scale helped me lose weight. Story 113, butter dish. No more cold butter, always smearable. Honestly, people, I understand taking your environment for granted, but consider how humanity managed without electricity. It opens a world of real-world knowledge. Butter is older than the refrigerator. Story 114, I bought mushrooms for $20 about 10 years ago and listened to Pink Floyd and the Grateful Dead for 6 hours. This was shortly after my mother died. It helped me in ways that are difficult to articulate. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.